actually moving very ahead with AI agents. So knowingly or unknowingly, we are deploying our AI agents in our workflow. So is that particular agent really like the data it is using, is it really secured? Is it having any PII data? So all these should be coming into the review, into the security aspect, which is not fully happening now.
One AI related mistake organizations are repeating right now.
So it is definitely over provisioned identities. So you are giving AI agent a whole set of identity like access, and that is where this problem starts. So once you start restricting the access, you can have control over it.
One thing engineers should never blindly trust AI for.
So I would say it is like AI assisted code review. So code reviews should be with human assistance only.
Do you think there is a real risk of engineers slowly losing the ability to catch errors because they have stopped reading the code themselves?
Very, very, very interesting question. So
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of InfosecTrain TechTalks Real World Decoded. I am your host, Payal Pawar. Today, we are talking about something that's genuinely changing how engineering teams work every single day: AI in cloud operations. Because here's the thing, engineers are already using AI tools to troubleshoot, automate, and respond to incidents. The productivity wins are real. But one question that keeps coming up is that are companies moving faster with AI than they are with security around it? So, because once AI starts living inside cloud systems and real day to day operational environments, security and control become a much bigger concern. So, to help us understand today all of this in a more practical and real world way, we have a very exciting guest with us joining us today, Miss Chitra Nair. So, Chitra, welcome to the show.
thank you so much, Payal. Thank you so much, and really happy to be here. And the timing of this topic, this is really almost perfect. Like we are in this very incredible journey, like everybody is having with this AI pace, right? So this thing which engineers earlier we used to experiment over the weekend for an AI project. So how does it look like? How does it work? Basically, it was like early 2030s and 15s and all. We used to just try out things in cloud, how this service works. But this is a production thing now. So everyone is trying to deploy the whatever their products, right? Entirely on an AI stack. So how does this work? So this is something genuinely excited journey we'll be having today. And thank you so much for hosting me on this show.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chitra.
Payal.
And
Yeah.
let me tell you, our viewers, something about your journey. So, Chitra brings over 20 years of experience in cloud architecture, AI infrastructure, DevSecOps, and enterprise AI platforms. And what I personally found very interesting while going through her work is that how grounded it is. Like how she focuses on organizations actually deploying and securing AI in the real world and not just in theory. So, Chitra, we are so glad to have you here. Welcome to the show. And please think of us as your student because we are eager to learn so much from you on this topic.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's get right into it.
Yeah.
And my first question to you is AI has clearly moved beyond the labs, of course, and engineers are using it in actual day to day cloud work now. But what you have seen, what are organizations still getting wrong when they bring AI into engineering and SRE workflows?
Very interesting question. So, I'll just open with a quick story. Like, I'll tell you what really changed, right? My perspective on this. So, there was a large team, like an enterprise team, and we had a very good security posture. We had regular audits. Right. So, and during the routine review, what we have like discovered in between was like there was an SRA team which was actually using an external AI tool, right? It was just an assistant tool, but it was like there along with the team for the past 6 months. So this came up in a audit only. So this wasn't known basically, right? And that actually the tool was helping the team. The team was having a very good productivity, and it actually helped in resolving the incident. So suppose there is a new incident coming, it was actually helping or leveraging their work. So what CISOs or the security team they couldn't find in an external audit, but how they actually found it was, this was actually, there was one employee who who wrote about the whole thing in a blog, technical blog. So with that, they were able to identify, okay, there is something additional which is also part of the whole ecosystem, right? So you might have heard about the term shadow IT.
Yes.
Have you heard about that, right? So this is exactly very common now. So what has happened is, like, this is exactly the scenario of the shadow IT problem. Like, what it is basically doing is, like, it is like trying to like, over the 6 months, what we are seeing is, like, there is a conversational AI tool which has been working along with an employee, and then it has the whole context. So this is like a large we know the background of this is an LLM, this is a large language model, it can respond to the queries, right? So but if we deep into that, what actually went wrong is, like, instead of, like, how treat each of the applications, suppose we are having a Slack, right, or a Zoom, like a Zoom application. So since it is part of the ecosystem, the CISO, they will actually have all they will go through the details, and they will actually see what exactly the team can have. Is it an SSO integrated, right? Is it already integrated with the organization? What data is going through that? But since era of AI and AI agents, basically we are actually moving very ahead with AI agents. So knowingly or unknowingly, we are deploying our AI agents in our workflow, and it is doing the work autonomous for us. So, but what is happening in the backend is, like, you have so is that particular agent really like the data it is using, is it really secured? Where is this going? Are we, like, supposed to, like, the is it having any PII data? So all these should be coming into the review, into the security aspect, which is not fully happening now. That is what my per se is. It is happening, like, it's taking that step. Every organization is taking that step very powerfully, but we need to be very fast here. The reason being, since this is already part of the daily normal routine of every engineer, what is happening is, like, that we need to be very fast with the policies or what needs to be allowed. So what I'm telling is, like, suppose you have a architecture, like AI governance document of like 25 pages. What we restrict AI not to do is, like, only maybe like one paragraph. So we need to have a proper policy, and we need to properly set what can be accepted, what cannot be accepted at the organization level for any of these workflows or whatever team they are working, right? So that will give the whole flip. So the story will flip. So then we will have the control over all those. So that is what we need to bring in the organization level. So this is something I will really recommend all the like our new teams, right? We need to be very aware of this. Like, we need to be very fast in this space.
Right. And honestly, even I think that's where the real challenge begins because AI definitely improves productivity. It's true,
Yes,
but at the same time, it can also introduce many risks that team may not notice immediately, but later. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
Okay. So, one more question I have. I'm also curious on a personal note that has being so close to AI infrastructure changed how you use AI tools in your own day-to-day work
Yeah.
operations?
Again, that's very interesting part of it, where, like completely I would agree it is completely right. So one thing I have noticed is, right, since we have started using basically I have started using AI, what it you should not give the control, the entire control, right? So you should always have it as a decision partner or your co-working partner. So that is how I have developed. So there have been couple of incidents where, when initially this AI was introduced, we were very skeptical, like, should we really use it? So is it like, we'll have this gut feeling, like this feeling, right? Should we, like, go ahead and try it out? Is it will it pose any problem to our, like, current? So what then I what my thought process is, like, something which I will not share in my public LinkedIn profile, right? That I will not share in the whatever tool I'm using, like, is it maybe Claude, in whatever tool, right? So that makes it easy. how like if you put some like a guardrail, so you yourself have to put some guardrail against your how you search things, how you explore things, right? And then there is quite a lot of settings which you can try out in any of those tools, basically, like whichever tool, like Claude, or you're using a ChatGPT or Gemini. So you
Are there
can
any
use
settings? No,
especially, yes, you have, you can
they exist.
actually go to the settings, and you need to check all those things, like everybody who is using. So you need to keep an eye on what all settings you have. And then one thing
Mhm.
is very interesting is you can actually go and check in the like settings and see that is the data which I am putting in, like even my personal
Mhm.
data, right? Is it
Right.
used by any of the model to do further training? You can restrict that. So still there will be cases like this, whatever query you are sending, right, it is going and hitting a backend which is in we don't know where. So that is always the good thing and the bad side of about cloud, right? So cloud, you don't know where that instance is, we don't know where that infrastructure is. But again, whatever is in our control, you should put that guardrail in your side, right? So that is very important, and I would suggest everybody. So that is how I take it, and that will leverage your personal work, and then you will definitely have a lot of productive as well as additional knowledge. So you should always keep it as your uh, partner in work and your profession as well as then it will be very easy. So one thing which I have noticed since this new era has come, right, that AI agents and everything has come up, we used to have peer programming a lot earlier. Right. So when we used to do something, we used to have a lot of review. Used to have one-on-one reviews and all. But this should be like a very good conversation you can have with an agent, and then it will help and question our knowledge, and then we keep on improving that. So that is a very good thing, but in a very good way we need to leverage that. So there is a balance always which we need, and that will keep us going forward.
That's a really good point, Chitra, I must say. And thank you so much for sharing such insightful answer with us. And so, Chitra, let's get more specific here. When engineers use AI tools like Claude AI or Gen AI, like you have said, during their troubleshooting or incident response, so what kind of company information should they be careful about sharing? And where does accidental data exposure actually happen?
Yeah, that's very relevant question now. So I'm just
Yeah.
sharing my screen if you could
Yes, we
see
can
this.
see the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. So basically, this I just want to put up this number where you see this right side, you see the 65%, right? So that's the
Yes.
percentage of the engineering teams actively actually using the AI tools, right? In
Oh,
their
wow.
IT or security team never approved. Basically, that's the
Hmm.
one which is not approved. So that is the stats as per Gartner in 24. So it has gone high in 26. So I didn't pull that number up so that we don't want to be scared ourselves. But yeah, so so you know about this shadow IT which I was mentioning, right? So
Yes, yes.
shadow IT is nothing but like you hand over your whole credentials into something else. Like in our case, it could be an AI tool, or it could be a different like a entirely different third party tool, right? So which is not in our whole ecosystem. So what we are actually interested is, again, like these stats what we are seeing here, right? Again, these are like just 40. So how can we relate to the billing side of things? That's what I was concerned about. So how do we go? Like suppose there is an agent, we know it was running for like 4 hours in the backend, and that SRE he forgot to turn it off, and then probably the billing goes high. So we don't know, like until and unless we are tracking that, we cannot like detect that it comes up with a notification or something on a different service. So it has the bill can shoot up to like 47K for like just 4 hours. So
Right.
these were real cases, okay. And another case where it was like there was this Gen AI code which has been done by, there is a coding tool which actually created this whole code, and it actually brought up a lot of additional vulnerabilities. Like it exposed some of the API keys, it exposed some of the cloud credentials externally, right? It pushed everything into Git, and then if you don't have a guardrail of like if you allow everything to be pushed into the Git, so you can put guardrails at different levels. Okay,
Right.
you can
Okay.
restrict at the agent level, or you can actually restrict at the Git level itself or the repo level itself. So you should be very careful at all those. So with this, 40% of vulnerabilities come just with an Gen AI coding agent, right? And it can actually inject a lot of vulnerabilities on the application side, like it can go up to 77%. So these are few stats basically, and just pulled up some additional stats, again, this 47K we already discussed, right? So again, so what happened is, 77% of that enterprise AI apps are vulnerable to the prompt injection. So this, again, the numbers came from OWASP, right? So this is very interesting again. And 2 years, 40% of vulnerabilities are mostly AI generated code. So what happens is, human, we think about multiple different scenario, and we always keep the like AI could think more edge cases probably, but so whatever proper the logic of that particular application, I always believe that and trust that what human think will be very different, and it will be more um to the solution of the problem. Like AI can have, it will turn around the whole thing, and then it will solve the problem definitely. But what I've seen that in multiple different cases, how we think and then solve the problem, right? It could be very simple
Mm-hmm.
solution, but that will be more effective, and it will be cost efficient also. Like AI doesn't have to care about the cost until and unless you ask the AI to, that prompt which we give, right? It should possibly tell the AI that you should go ahead with only this much cost of solution. So you need to properly trigger that prompt so that you should come back with that. Come back to our question, right? What the key insight, what we have to identify here is, right? So the
Yeah.
most important thing about any any cloud engineer basically, who is trying to use an AI generated infrastructure code, or basically he'll be more working on the infrastructure side, right? And even on the application side, which is running on the cloud basically.
Right.
So so what basically, you will have an AI generated infrastructure code if you are going ahead with an AI powered cloud monitoring or whatever solution you are building, right? So it can completely go wrong from a security per se if suppose there is I'll just tell one more scenario, maybe it will be more relatable. Right, there was this team which was actually using an AI coding assistant. Okay, so it's SRE has been using this, and they generated a, or they created a Terraform based. Terraform is IAC, which is infrastructure as a code, right? So Terraform is one of the very popular uh, language which will be having a whole, we can write the whole infrastructure
Yes.
as a code,
Yes.
right, in
Yes.
using Terraform. So
Right.
it SRE actually used an AI assisted tool to actually generate this Terraform
Right.
module for an RDS database instance. RDS is our relational database, so it's a very common database in an AWS ecosystem. So
Okay.
how it worked is, so this particular AI, how it was given permission to pull the data from S3, right? And this particular S3 is again a storage. Okay, so it's an object based storage. Now from this particular storage, it was able to pull the whole data, and this
Super.
particular S3 were able was having a, it was a legacy S3 where it was having a lot of training data which was already there as part of the whole ecosystem. Now, the generated, so suppose if we don't give the RDS or whatever database or service you're bringing up, right? You don't
Okay.
tell the
Mm-hmm.
AI code that you should not make it public. By default, what it will take is, right? Okay, by default, whenever this AI agent started writing the code, it will make it as is public accessible is equal to true. So by default is the setting. So you need to be very aware of the default setting, which will be like for each service. As an SRE, I need to be very aware of any of the service which I am working on, which I am handing over to the AI agent who is going to do this work for me, so that
Right.
you should not skip that part. Because if we bring up a new whatever instance, right, whatever service publicly accessible, and if you bring it up, what does that mean is the whole thing is exposed, right? So we don't have any control then, and then we don't know like where all this data is flowing, everything will be exposed. So this is how the all the attacks and everything will be happening. So one point which I have to always tell upfront is, right, as an application or someone who is very close to the development side, is the attackers, they don't get key themselves. Okay, there are cases they are getting it for sure, like with the AI
Mm-hmm.
powered attacks and all. But
Yes.
the whole system is with our hands, so that we should be very careful that we don't expose this outside. Like the keys, so if
Right.
you hand it over to some, it's like handing our key or door key of our home, right, to
To a
somebody,
stranger.
to a stranger.
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing. So you keep it
Mm-hmm.
outside, and keeping it visible, so that an
Right.
attacker or the stranger can simply come and get into the door. So this is very very quite common scenario. And another point is like, even if you use an AI to bring up a system, right, any SRE who is trying to use an AI system, he should do a rigorous testing from his side. What does that mean is like, you might have heard about a lot about SAST, DAST, and all, right? So this is
Right.
static application testing and dynamic application testing, and you also have an EAST, which is a interactive testing. So even if you have any application brought up, so you need to be doing a thorough testing. You can even automate that, okay? So that is also possible. But you should not fully rely on any solution. You need to get the whole application. If you are trying to bring up some new application with an AI agent or any AI coding tool, then go for it. But keep yourself very aware that you need to be the like the guard, the whole all the or you need to be in charge of the whole thing, whatever you are building, so that you don't accidentally expose anything which is already in the system, or the whole ecosystem didn't go like in any problem. So that is very
Right.
critical. Yeah.
Right, Chitra. Even, we are also seeing many cases where teams didn't even realize that they had exposed something sensitive, but until then it was, very, very late. It was too late. So that
Yes.
was a really good point, and thank you so much for sharing this example. And another thing that's becoming very common is engineers directly using AI generated code in their environments, like Terraform scripts.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
mentioned
Yes.
I guess it's
Kubernetes. Yeah.
Kubernetes
Kubernetes. Yeah.
configurations and
Yep. Yep.
CI/CD workflows and automation
Exactly.
playbooks, etc.
Exactly. Yep.
So my question to you is, how much should teams actually trust that output? Like,
Mm.
and what happens when they, don't verify it?
Yeah, that's again a very relevant question for the
It's a, yeah,
developer
same
forum.
similar question. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's very relevant for the developer forum. Okay, so
Okay.
like here we are actually going deeper into that problem. It's the same problem, but it is bit more deeper, like you mentioned, right? So one thing very important is, right, we also do a code review for an AI generated code with again another AI tool. So that is effective, definitely, but that may not be catching everything. Like human brains are like, we are designed to be think on the worst case, okay?
Right.
And so we always go about the worst case, and then we try and fix that. So that is how we have been, like, since our evolution we have been doing the same thing, right?
Yes.
So because
Right.
because when a human writes a code carelessly, it often looks just careless. But once you have an AI generated code, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
like, even if it writes a very careless code, it looks
It
like
will
very
look like it's
confident. it's very
Yes, it's
confident.
very
So that
confident.
is, yes, yes.
It goes
So
people, right?
it's very confident, it is very clean, it has all the you will have all the comments, right, properly
Mm,
documented everything.
yeah,
So it actually is a false confidence which is given to us, right?
right, right.
But what, the one thing which I have noticed is, right, when we as a senior engineer or architect, okay, when we review a code which is human written, and if we think that the code is wrong, right, we'll understand that, because that code itself will be like it will be scattered, and you will see a lot of uh, less confidence in that code itself,
Yeah.
but we'll not be able to figure it out from an AI generated code. So that is one thing very important. So now coming to the Kubernetes angle, right? So Kubernetes again on the infra side. Okay, so you need orchestration layer and all those parts. But again, what with Kubernetes, you have a lot of manifest. We call it as manifest. Okay, it's a bit technical,
Yes, Kubernetes
but
manifest. Yes.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
so what I have seen is like when an SRE or a cloud engineer who is actually working with a Kubernetes, like probably
Mhm.
EKS or any of the Kubernetes service within the cloud itself. So I've seen this like AI consistently, like it generate this configuration with privilege as true, for example, or we can have host IP can be set as true, and the containers can sometimes run as a root. So these are very simple, but it will look simple, like that configuration will look very simple. But what will happen is, right, it's not because like the AI is not trying to create that vulnerability. Like basically it will go through all the documentations, and it will have a database of its own, right? So basically I will not know that. So with knowing, that's what I'm telling, like it will not be exposing or creating a configuration to be like the application gets exposed with its knowledge. It's trying to do like whatever is in the documentation it learned, right? So what I would tell is, like, for any of the cloud engineers out there, like AI will write the code, like it will write the code in a very brilliant way, right? Okay, it is very capable. It is, you will think it as a very confident, and but it doesn't know the company policy. You should always keep that in mind. So it doesn't know the company security policy, or whatever we are supposed to do, only we know. That AI doesn't know by default, right? So it is our, like, I think we should be like is whatever project or whatever product what we are working, right? If you can use your AI, right, to generate a manifest or Kubernetes manifest or whatever in a
Yes.
specific secured way, which that company wants or the organization wants, that will give us like a lot of productivity, but at the same time it will be secured as well. So always keep that in mind. So any SRE who is going to like work on any of the project, so get a context or get already, like, you have a set of rules for yourself, and get this upfront. Let this the AI agent, you can actually have a memory set for the agent itself. So you can
Yes.
actually set the memory, bit complex things, but it is very interesting to learn all those aspects. But when you come to like setting up an AI agent or any agentic agent capability tool to do a automation work for you, then you need to have this additional memory saved, so that nothing goes out without you reviewing, right?
So they
Nothing
can
should be.
rely on that saved memory
Yeah,
completely.
so you should, what you should do is, like, you should keep on improving that. So it's not
Right.
like the
Mhm.
organization will not have a simple policy defined one day and then that's it. No, so it keeps on improving, right? So with every security review, with every architecture review, the even the infosec team, they come up with new set of policies. Like now GenAI has come, and then
Yes.
you have these other tools also coming in, right? So it will have a lot of new policies added into their like the whole set of like Bible book, right? So what we need to be like very aware as a cloud engineers is, right, you should be up to date with the same thing. At the same time, you should be very aware that what you are feeding into the system, so it should have proper context and proper prompting for your security side as well. So that is very important.
And they must keep, improving the prompt. Because
Exactly.
I noticed that AI tends to, forget the memory, the saved memory sometimes. I
Yes,
have seen
yes,
that.
yes. Yes. So
That
it does
happens.
it does save the memory, but you need to be keep on doing that. So
You
that
know, you need
context
to keep
window
on
will be
reminding it. Yes, again
exactly.
and again.
So you need to initially, like, you can actually have a, like, load this particular memory. So the first step itself it
Mm.
itself could be like you ask that whole system to load the whole memory, so that then you can start working, means it will never miss that part. So this you should be documenting that. And one another very good practice within any project is, right, so at the project level you should have contexts, right, and the project context, like there is multiple levels of context you can set, right, so you should have a multiple levels of context set at the project level, so that whoever is running any agent within that like using that AI tool, right, they will, first step is they should load that. So by default it will get loaded also. You can automate that. You can ask that to load whenever I'm taking up this whole session, right, you should first load that. So you can instruct that, and then whenever I'm taking that session, even knowingly or with unknowingly, it's already loaded. So all those security prompts, all those rules, right, it's already there. You don't know about that. So again, one more important thing is, you need to be very aware of like how you build the whole, like whatever application you are building, right, it needs to be like I mentioned, it should be like in your control. Like it should not like AI controlling you. So or whatever decisions it takes, right? So it should actually be like so even the decisions which we take, like we have a lot of conversation with the AI, right? So we have these different concepts of like multiple level of conversation, like to and fro conversations. So those things, we have a couple of decisions which we make in between along with the AI. Probably it will suggest, and then we instruct it to do that. Then only it will be doing, right? So you should not fully hand over any control to any AI agent. One. The second thing is like you should not give the whole the context, not context, the whole privilege. So you should always have a least privilege set up for your IAM, in your IAM for your whatever automation you are building. And the third most important thing I have seen is like whenever we try and so anyway to log into the system for an AI, right, to and to do or support your work, you will need a like a credential, login credential. So
Yes.
never go with your personal login credential or a credential which the team like there could be service principal. We call it a service principal, which is
Mhm.
for a particular application level. So it every AI tool or agent should have a separate credential for itself, so that in future, so if I give my credential and the AI agent log in into the system and do something very weird, so we cannot find it
Mhm.
out like that, is it I'm doing it or
Oh,
something
yeah,
which
it's
my tool is doing, so we don't know.
yes.
Even I will
Mhm.
not understand, right? So
Right.
you to understand that, basically you need to basically give this particular agent a very like at separate, everything should be separated out, like like it's like our separation of concern thing. So it should
Mhm.
be separated out so that you will have a better control of like the agent or whatever AI tool you are working. So definitely, I would suggest that cloud engineer. So the to again come back to the Gen AI part of things. Suppose there is a new this one solution. There is a new incident come up, right? And SRE, he is working at a 2 a.m. here trying to fix this, right? He can just copy into some. Not an external AI tool, so it should always be one. Another point, very critical, I think I missed to mention, is like whichever AI tool your organization has onboarded, right? So each organization will have a different set of AI tools which is onboarded, and they have a licensing, enterprise level license with that party, third party, right?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
always go for that and never try and access any of the AI tool which is like you have logged in your personal account to work use in your in your official work. Never do that, because that is very critical. So the moment you copy this outside your organization, even if you think that it is my personal account and nobody else is looking it, so you will you the moment you actually send it out, it's gone. Like we don't know where it is going. We are only now the everybody is going behind the tokens, like how do we save our token, how can I continue my conversation, right? But how do we make it secure? That is very more relevant than how do we get the token. So if the token is over, then we can start over tomorrow. But if the data is lost or if it is exposed, then the cost of getting this fixed is
It's
something.
ve- it's very high. Right.
Yeah, something, yeah, way could be out
Very
of our
big.
hands also. So yeah,
Yes. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And let's build on that. I want to ask a question, which is, I think, a bit controversial and and bit debatable. So, do you think there is a real risk of engineers slowly losing the ability to catch errors because they have stopped reading the code themselves?
yeah. So so one, since we have moved into this AI, personally as well as like within the team also I've seen, right? We have been using this very often in all the work. Like definitely the AI which the organization has given us, not any external tool. But coming some before coming into our professional side of things, I will take a very simple example of like my 10th standard kids who are working on their assignments, right? They have started like they have actually stopped to think on any simple project we are giving them, right? So this is everywhere, not in SRE, not
Yes,
in any like from the youngest kids to the senior most level CEOs, right?
definitely.
So it's a whole lot of problem which the whole of the humanity we are actually trying to fix it out. Right. So so I see, so we have given strict instruction not to do any project work, like let it go wrong, that's what. But the problem is they are asking back like everybody is doing the same thing and the other kid is also doing the same, so there is no difference also. Like there was a very interesting topic discussion. There was, it was last year I think, in one of the forums, right? There was a technical forum which I went there. So he is a very senior professor and HOD of one of the top organization. And when he was discussing this usage of AI, right? He was telling like nowadays I'm getting emails from the students, okay, in that university, and he is getting the emails. The first sentence, everybody is asking, "Good morning, sir. How are you doing?" And he's telling like, "I'm very surprised. Like, why do suddenly kids everybody together started very concerned about how am I doing today?" Because it's the same template, right? Everybody is using
You can
ChatGPT
say,
or
yes, yes.
Claude. So the first statement is like, "Hope you are doing fine, sir," and then it will start with that conversation. So he is telling like that is the impact that has come. So it's very common man thing, and
Even this is the
it
first
was very
sentence I
fun.
say to someone.
Yeah.
How are you doing? I
How are
hope
you
you are
doing?
doing
How
well.
I'm doing well, and that is what that
Yes.
professor is very curious to know that until these years I was here, nobody was concerned about me. Suddenly, everybody started asking, "I hope you're doing well, sir. I hope you're having a great day." So all these are coming up from those templates, right? So everybody is using that. So coming back to the same question of like how SREs or whatever, like whoever, so definitely that debug mind. So we used to have this very there was a very interesting topic like earlier when we started the career, right? So we used to like talk about any problem in a like a machine. So how does this work? So we used to think about the bits and bytes. So when I even teach my kids or anyone like how the coding, the algorithm side, right? So we used to sit and identify if this particular queue is here, so how do we do a simple swap between two numbers, right? We used to draw it and then fix it. But now everything is like you just on a matter of click you get like the code itself, like the snippet is front of you, so you don't have to even think about that. So the problem there is like slowly every one of us is slowly losing our like the debug mentality. So earlier when we had a small, even a small issue, we will be like first thing what we'll be doing is Even if it is a system problem, we'll try a restart, right? So fix the wire is, there is a very common, very old statement, like if you want to fix a system, you need to fix the wire first. So maybe the problem is with the wire. But
Right.
nowadays, even nobody thinks about that. You will just sit in front of an AI agent and tell that my system is not working, and trust that the AI will fix it for you. But maybe you just need to fix in the wire, or you just need to plug in that. So that plug is outside. So it's, if you think about it, it's very simple. But definitely, yes, I would say, and I would be very honest here, like we are slowly getting our, like our, we are not trying to think, that is what. So we need to bring up all those. And then even the way we take up a problem and solve it, right? That is also changed. Like if you see like a code getting failed, just copy that and then you paste it here and you just let it fix it. And nowadays you don't have to copy also. Like if you run an AI agent, it will find the error, it will try and fix it.
Correct.
I don't know where it is going to fix it. So finally it will tell success with all those icons and all. So yeah, so that's a very
Yes,
important thing which we all need to be very aware of. Like I mentioned, we should not lose control of any of those application or the knowledge. So we have reached until this stage, and we are making intelligent, very intelligent systems, right? So we are capable of doing anything, but be aware that we should not lose that curiosity. So that should always stay with you. So that is very important, and I would also recommend everybody to be staying on ground, so that tomorrow if the whole system is gone and there is something new coming up, you should be able to pick it up. So that's what I would say.
definitely. That's a really good point, and I think I our you viewers must agree with that. Okay. So, Chitra, you work a lot around something called LLM ops. And I think a lot of our viewers might be hearing the term for the very first time. So, can you break it down simply? Like, what is it and why should security teams care about it right now?
Sure, sure, sure. Very relevant question now. So, traditional DevOps, you know it, right? Like, it's like running in a well-organized. Take it as a like a kitchen, okay? So, in a restaurant kitchen, you are having a well-organized DevOps, where you have a development and the operations working together, hand in hand, completing the whole orders, right? So, you know every ingredient of that kitchen, like you have every recipe, like every step, like you will have a timer, right? Everything will be very deterministic. But LLM ops, if you when you come to the LLM ops, which is large language model, right, and operations on top of that, it's like running a kitchen where one of your chef is brilliant but deeply unpredictable. Like you don't know like what this particular genius chef is going to cook for you for every meal, right? You don't know what that is going to bring back. So your kitchen infrastructure will be like, it should be arranged in a different manner. Like you should be like sourcing the ingredient, the quality control, all those are fine. But again, based on that, you will have also like additional feedbacks from the customer or whoever is consumer, right? So everything will be applying here. Like since this particular new chef, right, who is going to prepare these things, he's doing it in very unpredictable way. We don't know what is happening. So the front side should be more aligned, that you keep on like having a better. So maybe the dish is very good, like the output is very nice, but you should be very having all those safety controls. It should be healthy, it should be like having a very good this one, right? So that is where you can think about in LLM ops in a very layman terms. Now what is like, what why is it so relevant now? So everybody is going and building up their own models, right? So they want to bring up their own model. They, every organization wants to bring up their own information into one model so that they can query that backend and get that information fast, right? And especially on the agentic and how you have aligned that question, right? So in that terms also, the this particular, like if I am talking about this, so can I quickly share one screen so that I'll
Yeah,
just,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
Sure, sure.
So we'll so what I'm presenting here is again this we have we have this LLM ops and the agentic AI, right? So very simple terms. Okay, so coming back to the question of like how what LLM ops is. So what most LLM ops stack miss is, right, you need to have a very good monitoring scheme. So what monitoring in the sense is, right, you need to have this so what you are basically doing is you have a model which you are building as part of your project or whatever your particular business cases, and then you need to host it somewhere, right? And then all the request which is coming or whatever prompts you are coming, right, you're going and hitting this particular model, right? So this whole set of LLM operation, if you have a chat GPT thing, so LLM ops is basically like you are hosting a chat GPT for your own, like could be a very simple chatbot, okay, and then you need to manage that. So as a cloud engineer, I should be having the whole infra ready where this whole thing can be hosted securely. At the same time, it should be responding, like it should have the latency cover, it should not be like, it should have all those NFR is non-functional requirements, okay. So you should have this latency, all those things kept in mind and design a system so that it will have the, like it should have all the ease of getting the response back with. So there is couple of lot of other terms, okay, so that how do you get this model trained and how, all those things I'm skipping all those part, which is again part of the whole cycle itself, like ML ops or LLM ops. So how this model is trained, you will have a rack. So there is a couple of bit of complex architecture, and there is one complex term called transformers as well. So how does that work and all. Coming into the infra side of things, to make it simple, right? For any engineer who wants to handle an LLM ops stack, right? He wants to have this, especially what we are seeing here is one is like, you should have this model detection properly. You should have the circuit breaker, which is again you should have in case of there is an error, or suppose there is a multiple same error repeating, we should be able to stop it. And every output should be accountable, right? If there is anything which is like a sensitive which is coming out of the whole LLM, right, all
Mm-hmm.
those things should be like captured as well. So how we handle it here is like we have a infrastructure, we are trying to like whatever this cloud engineers, right, they need to set up an infrastructure where it everything will be like the prompts as well as the response needs to be captured and analyzed as well as properly handled, so that you should be able to properly do it. So whenever there is a spike, right, instead of the system um, keeping on going without an alarm or something, you should have a proper guardrails where you should be like alerting the system, and then it should stop that loop. So those things, it's very important in case of, so it should not like keep on increasing the problem. We are trying to bring up LLMs to solve the problem, right? So it should not create more. So that would be the point I would like to stress here.
Okay, great, Chitra. That was such a great example that you've shared with us. Okay,
And
so
just, yeah, just
sure.
one point I can actually show the audiences, right? So, for example, in a prompt injection, right? So,
Okay.
in
Mm-hmm.
a prompt injection, if you are like earlier, okay, earlier we used to have like just a simple question, and if they try to have a direct ingestion, right? So, if an AI has an AWS access, it just became a could actually try and get all the S3 details or whatever data, whichever access it has, it could pull those details. But currently what we are seeing with the agent introduction is that, okay, it can read the ticket, it will read the ticket, it will go into the system, and it can actually, because it has access to multiple different like with the you have the concept of MCP, right? So you have this email integrated, you have this Jira integrated, you have the Slack integrated, right? So earlier the problem was it was only at one, the blast radius was only maybe one service or few services around. But since agents has been introduced, it has, and ourselves have integrated with multiple different systems, right, for our ease. The problem is the moment there is an attack in one system, it radiates everywhere. So this is more serious problem. Like nobody will be noticing where all it is gone, right? So this is very important. So again, I would really recommend whoever is building an LLM system or LLM ops to have a proper monitoring and observability stack, which will end to end monitor everything which is going in and out of the system, where it is going out, which all services it is interacting, right? Everything needs to be captured, not only monitored, it should be captured, and it should be like put it into a Grafana dashboard or whatever dashboard you have. You can have the LLM gateway dashboard, right? In you can actually host it in a gateway dashboard or any dashboard you have. You need to be properly, thoroughly taking this input and capturing somewhere. So that is very,
So,
very, very important. Yeah.
okay, so Chitra, we have talked a lot about what can go wrong.
Hmm.
So now let's flip to what good actually looks like to you. Can you tell us?
The
If
whole
an
thing, right?
organization wants to safely introduce AI into
Mm-hmm.
engineering operations today, what are the practical guardrails or steps they should put in place first, according to you?
Yes. So, the first thing, so one piece of advice for the organization, like
Yeah.
whoever is going to integrate AI into their workflow, right? So the first thing is like define what AI is not supposed to do before you define what it is allowed to do. So that is very important. Okay. So again, I have come up with one framework which will be very interesting for you. Right, I will just share that once quickly. Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can see the presentation now. Yeah, it's there.
Awesome. So what I would recommend the organization who is trying to bring AI, right? It should be very simple. You need to decide first. So this is what I've just put up
That's really
to,
interesting, actually.
yeah.
That's a good, yeah.
Yes, yes. So you need to decide, and what you need to decide is what I've actually put up here. So basically, what this whole decide framework will help you decide before you deploy basically anything on AI side. Okay, so this isn't a workflow basically. This is like a mindset. I would suggest for the organization who wants to like practically adapt. So this is very practical framework. Okay, so this is something we have been trying out, and this is not in any books. So yeah, probably we can publish. So what decide, definitely D is for, like what I mentioned, is like you should always have to set what AI access or is permitted to see. So basically not just what it can access technically. So technically it may have access to multiple things. For example, like if you have a AWS Bedrock deployment, right? Bedrock is one of the service which will have a lot of foundational as well as advanced models already in the AWS ecosystem. So suppose you have a Bedrock application, and then it has access to S3 bucket, one of the S3 bucket, say, and it will have suppose like 1K of documents which is marked as like internal only. Okay, so what happens is, right, AI is not supposed to query that. So it if the document is marked internal only, so that classification, if you have done properly and then made the system tell that you should not query or look into those files which are classified as internal only, that will take a save us from a significant data exposure. So this is a very simple example, right? So similarly, whoever is going to bring up an AI into their ecosystem, first think of how what data your AI is permitted to you. So that's the first that you should define first. So that is your first D. Then going to the E. E is very simple. Like you establish an identity for that agent, like I mentioned earlier also in this talk, right? So you should always have this agent have a separate identity than you or your team. So it should not be the whole team login or
Into the
service
same
principle,
account.
right? It should
Mhm.
always have an individual. The problem if we don't have it is that in case of an issue, like, or in case of like, even if it is good also, you need to track that how this particular solution has been addressed. Like, so that identity is very important. So always go with this identity. Okay, and third thing is like C is again, you should control the blast radius, right? That is to control your whatever in case of. So always think in the worst scenario, and then prevent that, then your system will be very secured, right? So what I meant by control the blast radius is nothing but you give very least privilege. So always give the privilege for this whatever AI tool or agent you are introducing to only access that. So if it has to read a file, only give access to that file. And if it has to like write into a DB into a particular table, if you can restrict to a column also, you do that. So always think. So that is where you need to bring in the SREs need to spend time in like planning and deploying the systems with these many like so you this will exactly give the like AI exactly the permission, right, that whatever task it is supposed to do, right, only give like access to do that task, nothing else. So you don't give a full access to the S3 whole bucket, right, to just read a particular file. So you should, the problem is tomorrow if since it is exposed, so if you run the task, you should, the AI can pick everything from the bucket, probably from a restricted bucket also, and get all dumped into somewhere else. So it's very third thing. And then next is like I is again you need to instrument everything like I mentioned, right? Your prompt, your action, your output, everything you should log it properly. So what does that mean is like you the LLM ops or the team who is going to control that, right, they should have proper systems logging in every thing which is going in and out. So this is again very relevant for us, right? And again, if you go again into the deep the next define, which we already talked about, is like you already decided what AI should not do, but what AI should never say or do, you should properly define, right? So the here what I meant is, right, there should always be an not allow list. So we give an allow list, right? So what I do, all of us, we do for the cloud code is, right, we have a not allowed list. Like it is not allowed to edit anything, or it is not allowed to touch any production system. So you need to have this not allowed list. So we may have missed out the allow, but it will take all other as yes, everything else as yes, right? So you should properly have this no list, which is very important, and it will set the boundary for all of them. And the final E is like you should enforce a regular audit, right? You should have review cycle, you should have architect reviews, you should have proper cadence where you will have like monthly or based on your project requirement or the organizational requirement, you should have proper review cycles set. So that and definitely annual review, right? How did the whole year go? So everything will keep in. So this is what I think this will be like giving the entire answer for your question, right? So this is what will be very helpful. Like it's a practical step, but it will be very easy if we follow this framework.
Okay, Chitra. So, looking ahead, how do you think AI will realistically change the role of cloud engineers, DevOps teams, and SREs over the next few years? What's your perspective on that?
Yes. So one thing is like for the SRE, especially for our cloud engineers or SRE, right?
Yeah.
This is a fundamental challenge basically, like to their entire professional identity, I would say, because SREs are basically we are trained for what like for reliability in deterministic system, right? So everything the SRE does, like is it like basically it is built on an assumption that if you like understand the system very well, you can predict its behavior, right? So that is how we have the whole system has been come up. Now when we actually bring in AI, the whole thing shatters, right? That assumption is gone. Now like for example for a large language model, right, it doesn't actually like it can come up with the same thing on a two different ways like output, right? And it can even do the hallucinations, right? So it could give different answer to the same question, or it could be like, so it is what I would suggest, like an SRE who is very excellent in who is managing a deterministic kind of system may get like a bit
Mm-hmm.
of like confused with this. If he start using this AI tool, right, he could get confused with this non-deterministic like whatever AI driven workflows is coming up, like like because we were trained, or we were been doing like very thorough understanding of the system, and then we try and fix this problem, right? But when we start using an AI driven workflow, suddenly it starts coming up with you have an option A, you have an option B, which one do you want to choose, right? So that keeps us like questioning our understanding. So that is one whole thing of transformation when you think on the work per se. But on the role side, which you have already mentioned, right? So we are seeing like a lot of like emerging, like if you take Microsoft or Google or Meta, all right, they are coming up with AI red team basically. So they have an AI red team engineers. So what those people, and it's an entirely new set of new roles or jobs, right? So their entire job is like to actually break into this AI system, and before that attackers can do. So that is very relevant. So maybe I would recommend like we can actually go into more in depths of this, like so whatever mundane or regular work we have been doing, we can actually get it automated and get into more technical side of like how do we manage this day. Like AI red teams can be formed. You can have a prompt specialist, security specialist, which who can actually do a very good prompting, which takes all the edge cases as well as like what we saw in the decide framework, right? You can have that not to do, what not to do, all those things, right? So that can be coming up in the prompt specialist framework. Then you should have proper AI governance officers who will be like governing the system. So these are new things which have come up, right, with this AI system. And also like definitely you have the risk assessment, everything, risk manager, but you should have a model side also, like model side, what all risk it can pose, right? Everything. So I truly trust that with this AI, new roles will be coming up. And the second most important thing is upskilling. So, skill
Definitely.
is like, yeah, you need to build a lot of skill right now. So, the three things I would tell every SRE or the cloud engineer is to start building today would be like, first, you need to have a very good threat modeling for your AI pipeline. So, if you are going with an AI team, and then you are actually not with an AI team, you are actually going to onboard an AI into your team. So consider it as your teammate, right? As well as you need to be like do a threat modeling for that AI tool, whatever you are bringing into your whole ecosystem and pipeline, right? So it's not a new skill. It even existed earlier also, but we need to be like keep it obvious. That's what. So there is this few terms called you can actually run okay this what is called that stride for AI. There is like cloud threat modeling, like you can use stride for AI, and then you can do a cost control for AI agents. So those things like close cost monitoring, security monitoring, all those things will be additional roles. And cloud IAM for the AI workloads, right? So all those will be additional roles will be opening up. So it is not, you should not like think that AI will take away our jobs. Will it will
That's
never
right.
do. It will never do. You should never be like stepping back and think like, oh, okay, I'm doing this this particular day-to-day work daily. It's getting automated and I will be replaced. No. So there will be a stage where we will be have to find a new set of work. But definitely for now we have a lot of new opportunities. You need to find on and do a upskilling in that, right? So I would recommend everybody to go and explore what is in your current system and what is lacking, then bringing that whatever is lacking. And then also upskill in multiple different you can have a lot of certifications or additional things, right, which will make sure that you stay up very up to date on the latest technology evolution. So that will keep you going, right? So I
Yeah,
would recommend
that's
that.
right.
Yeah.
My next question, going to be the last question of this podcast, and
Yeah.
what's the one thing they absolutely should not ignore at all?
Perfect, perfect. So I will just have one my last screen shared so that we can very quickly I can showcase that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a second. Thank you, Payal, for that question. And that is the, I think, very relevant. So I've just shared this screen where I've everything summarized, whatever we have discussed, right? So, to any organization who is trying to come bring up an AI into their workflow, you should definitely go ahead and do that. So, I would recommend everything because we are all going in a very fast pace, and tomorrow quantum computing will come, will take over. So, currently the fight is for the GPU. If you think about senior most level people who are like discussing earlier, it was like most of the time they were only working on the business cases, like they wanted to talk to the client what the client needs and all. Now the discussion is also around what all AI tools or new capabilities they have to onboard so that they can better deliver and faster delivery as well. But at the same time there is also discussion of this tokens or how this costing at the AI side is going ahead, right? So this will keep on moving, like that is evolving, this will keep on going ahead. But the point is, like, for any organization, why my advice would be like, bring AI into your whole system and get amazing results, right? So over a year, if you actually can monitor the usage of or with AI or without AI in any workflow, it will have a major impact, and that will be very major. But saying that, at the same time, always follow this best practices what I have put it here, right? So that will make the system relevant and your business going forward. So definitely you should find out if there is any shadow AI first, like whether it's been exposed anywhere. So where this is using, every team should follow this. Then you should classify whatever is connected to the AI, right? So that data classification should be taken care. You should have like properly identification for each of the AI tool, right? And then you can actually have a like switch between the thread prompt like SQL, whatever thread. So this is not that SQL ingestion and all. Should go follow all the like top 10 from the OWASP or whatever, like ISO standards and the ISACA, right? All those organizations who are putting these norms or the security, they are spending a lot of time into this and then bringing up these rules and policies so that we can adopt into our project. So we should properly leverage all those. Right, and you should have a red team, like I mentioned. So you should have a team who is challenging this AI system, so that going forward there should be a proper challenge against the AI and come up with, so that we are in control. It's not that AI will take the control and AI will like threaten us that we are going to take up your job. No, so we have employed you so that you make our lives easy. So that check should be there. And always have the organization, I would say, is right, instead of just cut shorting heads, right? You should make the team more upskill the team, like you mentioned. It's very important that we upskill the team into new technologies and let the team come up with new ideas and bring in more business. So that will give like additional business, additional work. So that will be like give and like take for all of us, right? So that's how we have been growing. And I strongly believe that this panic era will be going away, and then everybody will be back into like working hand in hand with the AI. So
Before
I'm
AI
always
era.
hoping good. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Chitra, for sharing these slide deck with us. We also have a rapid fire round, and I just want your short and very instinctive answers to that.
Yeah.
So we have just few questions. My first question is, one AI related mistake organizations are repeating right now.
Mm. So it is definitely over provisioned identities. So you are giving AI agent a whole set of identity like access, and that is where this problem starts. So once you start restricting the access, you can
Yeah,
have control over it.
definitely. Okay, so
Yeah.
one thing engineers should never blindly trust AI for.
So I would say it is like AI assisted code review. So code reviews should be with human assistance only.
Okay, one underrated skill engineers should learn in the AI era.
AI era, definitely they should be very adaptive on the prompting.
Okay, agentic AI, exciting or risky?
Agentic AI, yes, it is both. I would say both.
Okay, last
I would
question. One AI infrastructure trend people should start paying attention to.
Yeah, so computing for the AI, right?
Yes, Chitra, this was just such a great conversation, and thank you so much for your time today. And
Sure.
what I'm taking away from this is that AI isn't sitting outside engineering anymore. It's already inside in how
Yeah,
teams build, automate, troubleshoot, and manage cloud environments every day. And
yeah,
what I really appreciated was how grounded and how practical this conversation was. Like, there was no hype, just real risk, real challenges, and things organizations actually need to think about. So, thank you so much again for being here. And it was genuinely great hosting you. And
yeah.
until
Thank
next
you.
time, stay secure, stay curious, and stay ahead. And this is Payal Pawar signing off. If there is a topic you would like to cover us on Tech Talks Real World Decoded, drop it in the comments. And Chitra, do you have anything to say to our viewers?
Yeah, yes, yes. So this has been a very great opportunity, and thank you so much, Payal, for being such a great host. And I want to leave everyone with just one thought. Okay, so AI is in our cloud already. So it's not future concern. It's already happening right now. So in our organization, in all our organization, whether you are using it or not, it is approved or not, it's already there. And the question is just like whether it is secure or not, right? The question is, uh, no, it's not even secure or not. That's also like we don't know. The question is whether you are going to be intentional about it. Like, are you going to be reactive about it? So the point what I want to like leave everybody is right. You should always be proactive. So you should not leave the system reactive. So that if an incident occurs, it should not. You should not go ahead and go and try and fix it. So it should be like very proactive and build a system which is very secure and cost effective. So I strongly believe that we are all very capable of doing that. And wishing everybody a great day ahead.
Wow, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much, Payal.
Chitra, for sharing your insights in this interesting conversation. Okay, people, so see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye and take care.